All right, one more thing I want to highlight before we move on to the next step is, again, like I said before, you don't want a lot of competition at the same spot. So we all kind of find a weird branching here. We got a lot of branches going in the same direction. So I basically have to pick which one I want to be my main branch. I'm gonna pick this one as my main branch, and then I'm gonna trim this one off so that all the energy can go to this one instead of this one.
Timber.
Yep. And then we've got a couple more here. So I'm going to trim this one off because it's kind of going off in the same direction. So these two are going to be farther spaced apart. I'm going to trim around here. Trim this one off. Oh, that was not good. I split my branch a little bit.
The one you were cutting, I hope.
Yeah, and part of the trunk a little bit.
Ah.
Well, trees are very good at healing themselves, so hopefully this one heals up pretty nice.
I'm gonna take a look at it.
No, do not show people what I did.
Well, they'll probably do it themselves, so.
So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to trim the tree back a little, just to do a little trim. So basically we're giving the tree a haircut. And if you'd like to come here a little bit. Basically for apple trees, for cherry trees, and for most trees, you're going to want to trim off 20% of last year's growth. For some other trees like kiwis, grapevines, which we'll talk about in a couple minutes here, you want to trim 50% of last year's growth. I'll have a list of what is what. But if you look, you can tell last year's growth by this little collar here. So if you go back from your tip and you go back and you see there's a little collar here, this indicates this was last year's growth. So we're going to trim off about 20% of that, give or take. But you also have to remember that the bud next to where you cut is where that branch is going to go. So you have to consider that where you, how you trim, because you basically want to control where that branch goes. So this branch is at a pretty good angle. Here's again the last year's growth. So we're going to want to trim off. So tree's pretty spaced out, but I think I want it to go in this general direction. So I want to pick off the one that goes in this general direction because of how the rest of this is going. So I'm going to trim this off right here. This is actually about maybe 40% of last year's growth, but that's fine. I'm just going to trim this off here, about 1/4 inch from where the bud is. If you get too close to the bud, you can damage the bud. If you go too far away, you got too much stem sticking out. So I'm going to trim it off there, easy peasy, and then that's going to branch off in this direction. We've got a pretty big gap here, so I'm going to want to trim this one in kind of the same way. So again, here's the last year's growth. So I'm going to trim it off right here. Again, that's about 40%. I'm going to trim it off right there. Again, about 1/4 inch from the bud. This one I want to go off in this direction, so I'm going to trim this one.
Yeah, where is the collar? Is this a fully fresh new one?
Almost looks like it, but
yeah,
there's got to be a collar here somewhere. In any case, I'm going to try to keep the same shape of the tree. I want it to go off in this direction, so I'm going to trim off about this much. Hopefully then it'll go off in that direction. So you're kind of guiding and trying to predict where the tree is going to grow off next. Again, we got a big gap here, so I want to trim. Again, here's our 20%. I'm going to trim it right here. This bud that's going to go out.
Our new growth.
In this direction. Again, it helps make the tree stronger. If you have a really long shoot, then it puts more weight on it. When you have new growth, it can snap. You're basically trimming a little bit off to strengthen it, to encourage new growth, and to control where it's going to grow. Again, here's our collar. Again, I kind of want to go in this direction. We've got a big gap here, so I'm going to trim off 20%, and actually I'm going to trim like 50% and go off in this direction. That's pretty much it.
Maybe come back.
And big gap here, so I'm going to kind of control where that goes. I just trim. I'm going to trim a lot off this one.
Wow. Just to get the direction you want.
Yeah. And kind of a gap in here, so. Again, I'm trimming about like 40% off these.
Maybe when the tree gets older and bigger, it'll be easier to get to 20 and 30%.
Yeah. This one has a lot of growth on it, so we're just going to trim about this much off. Again, trying to fill in a little bit. This one's, again, not a lot of growth, so we're just going to trim off a lot. Okay, trim this one. Trim that one. I think we're all good. Again, this is what you kind of want it to look like. You got your branches most evenly spaced. You got it kind of rotating around the tree. You can trim to kind of make up the distance where the gaps are. And then we've got our main stem going out.